Ironclads in the Civil War and the revolving turret changed weaponry and battle tactics in naval warfare. But before the ironclads, ships were made of wood and used sails. It would take a month for a wooden ship with sails to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Slowly, steam-powered ships were getting developed around 1807. Ships would have boilers fired by coal to produce steam pressure to spin a ship's propeller. Steam ships were superior to sailing ships in sea-to-land engagements because the sail ships would have to anchor and then engage land targets, unlike steam ships where they could keep moving and engage land targets at the same time. The Civil War broke out around April 12, 1861. The Confederacy had no navy and had to start from scratch. Confederate Secretary of the Navy, Stephen Mallory, said, "I regard the possession of an iron-armed vessel a first necessity. If we could build a viable ironclad warship before the North, I hope that we could smash through the Union blockade." The Confederates dug up the ship Merrimac out of the sea, left with nothing but the hull of the ship. They reconstructed it and plated it with iron, and renaming it the Virginia. This was the first ironclad warship in American history. The first day it was commissioned, it sunk 3 Union ships and was heading for the Union blockade in Hampton Roads. The Union was frantic. They needed an ironclad ship for themselves. John Ericsson, a Swedish inventor, designed an ironclad warship for the Union and was named the Monitor, and was commissioned in February the year 1862. But this ship was different. The ship's deck was 14 inches above water level, and this ship, instead of having the broadside gun arrangement, this ship had a turret that would rotate to aim the ship's 2 guns. This was a major turning point in history, the revolving turret. This would make it so that the boat could keep going in one direction while the guns would fire in a different direction. Unlike the other ships, with the broadside gun arrangement, they have to aim the ship to aim the guns. On March 8, 1862, the Virginia reached Hampton Roads and destroyed the Cumberland. All rounds shot at the Virginia bounced right off. In the morning, March 9, 1862, the Battle of Hampton Roads took place against the Monitor and the Virginia. Lieutenant Wood of the Virginia said, "Both vessels turned and passed again. Still closer, the Monitor was firing every 7 minutes and every shot struck." That quote explains how the Monitor's revolving turret outmatched the Virginia's broadside approach. V. White of the Monitor wrote, "The balls from the Virginia, especially those almost fired muzzle, produced some results. 3 cylindrical rounds fired from the rifled guns made an indentation nearly 4 inches deep in the armor plating. 2 of them made an equally deep indentation on the side of the turret, and a man leaning against the inside of the walls at the place receiving the blow was thrown forward and wounded. The other rounds which reached the Monitor were insignificant." That quote explains the effectiveness of the iron plating on the ships. John Quincy Adams' son wrote, after hearing about the Battle of Hampton Roads in London, said, "It has been the main talk of the town, even in Parliament, in the clubs, and in the city. The impression is that it dates the commencement of a new era in warfare." Even though the battle came out as a draw, but both ships were proven effective, it proved a new age in battle, in warfare. The Union was so pleased with the Monitor's design that they made 51 others like it, but with a few modifications, such as 2 to 3 turrets and the ability to be an ocean-going ship. The Battle of Hampton Roads came out as a draw, either ship having an effect on each other. Both the Union and the Confederacy made modifications and different ways to sink each other's ships. They both added bigger and more powerful guns and the different gun arrangements on their ships. Is the ironclad and the rotating turret a major turning point in naval warfare?
if you look at that gun turret and try to assess its significance then and now, it's a pretty big deal. Ships at the time would fire their guns, and then they would have to reload in a certain amount of time or change the position of the ship to fire. The gun turret that rotated allowed them to point in any direction at any time. So that was a big, big deal.
Did the Ironclads ever affect the possible outcome of the Civil War?
That's another good question that people have asked about for a long time. There was great concern after the first day of the Battle of Hampton Roads, and that first day was when the Confederate Ironclad Virginia was fighting alone against the Union wooden blockading fleet. The Virginia was so destructive and effective that was the worst loss of life for the U.S. Navy prior to Pearl Harbor.
The Civil War came to an end. The 20th century began. The mystery of the best gun arrangement was solved. It was the turret. Modern-day destroyers and other naval ships use the revolving turret because of its genius design and tactical strategy. The Ironclad and the revolving turret shaped naval battle tactics and weaponry forever.